That's one of the Gospels that writes about the story of Jesus. And in your red Bible, don't mind them. In your red Bible in your pew, you can turn to page 743 if you want to follow along. Luke 19, starting at verse 28. After Jesus had said this, he went on ahead, going up to Jerusalem. As he approached Bethphage and Bethany at the hill called the Mount of Olives, he sent two of his disciples, saying to them, "Go to the village ahead of you, and as you enter it, you will find a colt tied there, which no one has ever ridden. Untie it and bring it here. If anyone asks you, 'Why are you untying it?' tell him, 'The Lord needs it.'" Those who were sent ahead went and found it just as he had told them. As they were untying the colt, its owners asked them, "Why are you untying the colt?" They replied, "The Lord needs it." They brought it to Jesus, threw their cloaks on the colt, and put Jesus on it. As he went along, people spread their cloaks on the road. When he came near the place where the road goes down the Mount of Olives, the whole crowd of disciples began joyfully to praise God in loud voices for all the miracles they had seen. "Blessed is the King who comes in the name of the Lord. Peace in heaven and glory in the highest." Some of the Pharisees in the crowd said to Jesus, "Teacher, rebuke your disciples." "I tell you," he replied, "if they keep quiet, the stones will cry out." This is the word of the Lord. Have you ever been in a situation where you met someone and it turned out that they were not at all what you had been expecting when you sort of pictured them in your head? So on Friday, I went to a meeting, and it was with a bunch of people who I had met like only ever on Zoom meetings, virtual meetings. And I walk in, and I'm just like, whoa, there's all these people in there who I'm like, I had no idea what my mental picture was of you, but this is not it. Like, I knew what your face was, but nothing else. The whole picture of you. And it's like, you're taller than I thought, and you're way shorter and way smaller. Like, it just totally changes the way that you kind of thought of that person. Whether it's a Zoom person that you then met in person, or maybe you've shown up to a blind date or someone that you met on like Match or Hinge or something like that. And you're like, okay, those pictures were not totally accurate. That's maybe a little bit of a dated picture. Or maybe even your friend has told you all about their significant other or this amazing person, and then you finally meet them and you're like, them? Really? Really? That's the person you've been telling me so many amazing things about? And after thousands of years of the Jewish people, the people of Israel, thinking about the Messiah, right? There's this Jewish thought, ancient Jewish thought um, in that religion that's talking about a Messiah, a chosen one, a Savior will come. And for thousands of years, God promised his people, Messiah will come. You'd think after a few hundred years, people might start getting a mental image of what Messiah is going to look like when Messiah comes. That's a big mental image to live up to. So when Messiah comes, when Jesus is born a tiny baby, did that meet expectations? It's like we're filling out a survey. Like, did this meet your expectations of Messiah? Does that meet the expectations as Jesus grows up within the Jewish the Jewish tradition, and it's part of going to the Jewish schools. And then over time, becoming somebody who attracts a following and says, this is my ministry. I am the one who has been promised for so long. When you look in the Old Testament, the front part of the Bible, and God is telling his people, you won't always have to live in suffering. You won't always have to live in pain. I am with you, and I am sending someone to you who is going to change everything for my people. And then who shows up but Jesus? We have 4 different stories: Matthew, Mark, Luke, John. There are 4 different perspectives on Jesus, his ministry, what he was like. But to kind of sum it up, if you kind of did a poll of Jewish people in the first century, right, like 0 AD, or like 35 AD, who would they be expecting for the Messiah? You'd get a variety of different answers. Maybe one answer would be somebody who is going to bring a military overthrow of our oppressors. We have the Romans who have taken our land, and we have to live under them. We're God's chosen people. Like, it's kind of disgraceful that we have to live under Roman military occupation. So we want a king who's going to come in and overthrow our oppressors. Maybe it's someone who puts God's people back on the map. Someone who can finally get us the respect that we deserve. I mean, we're the people of King David, and now this is what we've been reduced to. It's about time we get the respect that we deserve. Maybe they're looking for a king, somebody who, when the Romans are overthrown, is going to rule the people, come in and be a king, and be the ruler that they have been looking for. Usher in a new economic age and bring wealth and prosperity to God's people the way they should be living. In this story, when Jesus rides up to Jerusalem, he's touching on all of these things, right? Because what if that person who showed up to this date, or that person who you see from a Zoom meeting, is kind of aware of the expectations that you have of them? Jesus knows that these are the expectations that people had of the Messiah. And so he's kind of touching on some of these. Jesus knows what our expectations are, that we want to live a life, we want to live in a place that's free. We don't want to be oppressed. We want to, whether that's oppression from our sin, from our relationships, from the decisions that we've made that have kind of like backed us into a corner in this life, it's the same thing. Jesus understands the expectations that are on him as he tells his disciples, go find a donkey. Go find a donkey, and I'm going to ride that donkey into Jerusalem. Because there's a Jewish history where in a military conquest, think military conqueror, if somebody wins a battle, they're going to be riding into that city on a horse as a military conqueror. And Jesus says, I'm not here to conquer through war. I'm not here to conquer through force. I am the King of peace. And he rides in on a donkey to symbolize that he is not here to take over through military conquest. His kingdom looks different. As he rides into Jerusalem, it's kind of ironic because at the same time that Jesus is riding into Jerusalem on a donkey, Pilate, who is the governor of this region. He is the representative of Rome. Okay, I'm sorry. I know you guys didn't come here for a history lesson today, but it's kind of important in order to understand the backstory. Okay? So Pilate was the governor of Rome. So it's kind of like, um, this small group of people, the Israelites, they live in their own region. It's their land that God gave to them. But the Romans have taken over, and the Jews have to live under Roman rule. So Pilate knows that they are celebrating the Passover. This is a very politically contentious time. He does not want the Jewish people to become violent and try to take back their own land and try to gain independence. He doesn't want that to happen. So he is riding in from the east in a military procession, coming into Jerusalem so that he can be a military presence, all his guards walking alongside him. He's on a military horse, symbolizing, if you guys try anything this week, we're going to put it down by force. And if you come back next week, cliffhanger, you'll find out that Pilate has a lot more to do with this story. To be continued. But can you think of this contrast happening in your mind? Pilate riding in with military guards from the east, saying, don't you guys try anything. We own you. And if you try it, there will be blood. Meanwhile, Jesus is coming in and saying, I am the promised one. And he's kind of like making fun of Pilate by doing what he does. It is a protest, a quiet protest. Jesus is coming in and saying, I'm the king, but I won't take it by force. And I'm also going to create this contrast against Rome and against the rulers who would try to say that might is right, that you can achieve some kind of peace through military machine. The way of Jesus is peace. And there is no way that the government, true then, true now, there's no way that the government can offer you salvation. There is no way that force can bring you a way to salvation and peace. Even as the people wave their palm branches, I did not know this, I just learned this. The palm branches were a sign of Jewish resistance, left over from other rebellions that had happened that had been completely snuffed out. The people are waving palm branches at Jesus. We believe that you are the one who can offer us true freedom, a freedom that could never be offered through a government, through a soldier, through an empire. While Pilate is walking and marching into Jerusalem with Roman guards, looking real spiffy, really rich, Jesus is followed along by a ragtag crew of fishermen, prostitutes, tax collectors. Those are the ones who Jesus chooses to be flanked by. And this is the thing that there's a lot of theological questions that we can ask about. Is the Bible true? Is Jesus who he really said he was? I've asked all those questions ad nauseum. The thing that keeps bringing me back to Jesus is the way that he so relentlessly chose the path of peace. He chose to align himself with people who had nothing to offer him. He chose to bring those people closest to his heart. And even now, it is the ones who might look from the outside to be the least holy, the further from Jesus, the ones with no power, the poor, the ones who are oppressed. They are the ones, we are the ones who are near to Jesus' heart. So we're going to transition to a time of baptism, but I kind of want to set that scene a little bit for you because it's going to play into what happens when Jesus, spoiler alert, later on in Holy Week on Good Friday, it is exactly this kind of political action that got him crucified by the Roman state. The Pharisees, if you read back here through this story, the Pharisees, who are kind of like the religious leaders, they're like, Jesus, tell your people to be quiet. The Romans are here, they're listening, and they don't want any trouble, and we don't want any trouble. Tell them to be quiet. And Jesus says, if they're quiet, the stones will cry out. Because Jesus is the Messiah, regardless of what anyone says, whether they're the president, the empire of the galaxy, the governor of Rome, Caesar Augustus, Jesus is on the move. And we have this really wonderful case study of this where people are going to be getting baptized. And baptism is a way, what baptism means is that people the people who are being baptized are saying, Jesus is my Messiah. He is the Lord and King of my life. Everything else that I have pledged allegiance to, money, power, parties, fun, all that stuff, it now comes second, and Jesus comes first. As we go through this ordinance of baptism, being baptized, it doesn't save you. Okay, so these people are not like the holy ones now that we have to all bow down to them. It's a sign, it's a symbol of God's power in our lives. That's right, we're not bound down to you. Don't even try it. I know you had plans. You had plans. It's a symbol. When they go under the water, it's a sign of dying to themselves. I'm no longer the king or queen, ruler of my own life. Jesus is. And as they are raised back up, it's a symbol, but there's still power in symbols, right? As they are raised back up, they're raised to new life. As I was walking in today, I saw the daffodils springing up, the hyacinths, all the good stuff, even though it's gray and cold and there's still patches of snow on the ground. How? April 13th. Jesus says, I am making all things new. I am making all things new. Look at the buds on the trees. Look at the flowers coming up. Look at these people as they come out of the water. Look at each one of us. We are being made new. So the old things that had power over us, they're not king of our life anymore. Okay, where's my thing? We're going to sing a hymn